This is the Safety Control Center, or SCC, the single pane of glass that connects all of your various device models and your use cases. To access the Safety Control Center, every client will have their own web page or URL that they can access. Upon hitting the web page, you'll need to sign in with a username and a password so you can ensure anyone that has access to the platform is securely access controlled. Upon logging into the dashboard, you'll be met with this landing page. On the right side of this landing page, you can see a map that shows the live location of all of your workers. I can toggle this map between street and satellite view, and if I zoom out all the way, you can see this is our global demo site so you can see where these devices are being used across the world. In the middle here, there's a variety of what we call textual tile widgets. These tile widgets provide you with an overview of what's going on in your site. For example, I can see a device summary, a device compliance summary, lone worker summary, event summary, and an active zone summary. Finally, on the far left is the navigation pane. This navigation pane allows you to navigate throughout the various use cases and aspects of the platform. I'll start by going to the Active Worker detail page. On the Active Worker detail page, I can see a variety of information. For example, I can see the name of the user, their profile picture, the battery percentage of the device they're using, the device model that they're using, and if they're online, offline, or MIA. Below here, there's also a section to see the sensor readings. Since I have my iPhone running the GuardHat application paired to an RKI GX3R Pro gas detector, I can also view the gas readings in real time as they're coming through. In this case, I'm seeing the live CO, H2S, O2, and CH4 values as they're coming in. Below there's also a section for device-specific readings where you can see a plethora of other information regarding the gas detector. On the right side here, again, I can see the live location of the iPhone, and there's some more detailed information about that location as well. For example, I can see the last timestamp of that location. I can see the source of that location, so our platform supports a variety of different location sources such as GPS, BLE, and ultra-wideband. Along with that, I can see the latitude and longitude coming from the GPS and an approximate altitude. If I'm within a site, I'll also see the site I'm within, and then if within a building and a floor, I will also see the building and floors I'm within as well. This blue boundary you see here is the site boundary that I've created, but you can upload 3D floor plans of your site, and if you do that, you can cycle between each floor as well with something like BLE beacons and see the exact location of workers on the floors that they're within. There's also a variety of different ways to communicate to a worker. I can make a video call to this worker, I can send an audio call to this worker, I can send a video or audio callback request as well. So if I know the worker's busy but I want them to call me back whenever they get a moment, I can do that. And I can send a text-to-speech message. With text-to-speech, I can just send any sort of message within this text bubble, hit send, and it'll audibly read aloud on that user's phone and stay on there so that if they ever need to refer back to that message, it is available for them to view as well. Our platform also supports nearby worker functionality, so you as an organization can define what you believe a nearby worker is. It can range from anything between a foot and go up to tens of miles if you'd like. Essentially, what happens is, if Max's iPhone was to raise an SOS, the platform will check who's considered a nearby worker, and then also alert the nearby worker that Max's iPhone raised an SOS, and then see if that other user can help Max's iPhone before we can get some more help to them. Below this, you can also see the last 20 events that have occurred, and the last 10 calls made by this user as well. This is just one example of a device, in this case an iPhone, but we have 20 to 30 other device models that span across a variety of use cases. I'll also show a biometric band, which is used for worker condition monitoring use cases and is often used to help with heat stress situations. With the biometric band, you'll see this page looks very similar. I'm still getting the location, and in this case though, I can get the heart rate of the worker, the core body temperature of the worker, and exertion, which is calculating a value based on the heart rate and core body temperature. This is coming in real time as well. Next, I'll go to the event detail page. On the event detail page, you'll see all of the lists of events that have occurred over the past 2 days. There's 2 buckets of events on our platform. we have these gray events, which are non-critical events, which means these aren't events that you necessarily need to take action on, but we do have this data and we're providing it in case you want to run some reporting or see, for example, when someone powered on their device and where they powered on their device. The next kind of event are these red or critical events. So these are events that you usually want to take some sort of action on. In this case, it's an SOS alarm. Again, I can see exactly where the SOS alarm or that critical event was triggered, and I can see the live location of that worker as well. Along with that, I can initiate a video or audio call to this worker, and if everything was okay, I can also optionally resolve this event and then type in any comments here if necessary as well and hit confirm. Along with that though, there's another section here where you can see sensor readings again, so you can kind of start to build a picture of the environment and what's going on. You'll see if any nearby workers were notified of this critical event. And there's a customizable incident management plan section here. So depending on your organization's SOPs, you can define the steps that you want a supervisor to run through whenever a critical event occurs. Finally, there's also a comment section here, which can be really helpful. So if you're a supervisor and you're taking action on this worker, you might just type something like checking on Max, and that way when anyone else comes to view this event, they'll know someone is taking some sort of action into this event. If I did resolve this event, you'll see that the event gets crossed through here, and then within about 10 to 15 seconds, you'll actually see that the event will disappear from this feed, but you'll also always be able to view it in the reporting section here. Next, I will go to the gas detector compliance page. On the gas detector compliance page, you'll be able to see your whole fleet of gas detectors listed here. You can filter this section by when the gas detectors have a bump test due, when they have a calibration due, the overall device health, the device's status, whether it's connected or not connected, and then the type of device. You can also search directly by the serial number of the gas detector itself as well. If I click on one of these gas detectors, I'll be able to see the 30-day history of who last connected to this gas detector, and then the battery percentage of the device, when its calibration and bump tests are due, and then an overall signifier of the device health. So essentially, does it have any hardware malfunctions that the gas detector is reporting or not? Next, I'll go to the Lone Worker Check-in tab. In the Lone Worker Check-in tab, I can again filter this list by who has the Lone Worker Check-in mode activated or not, if someone has a successful or missed check-in, the current connectivity of the lone worker, so whether they're online, MIA, or offline, or by their supervisor, their department, or again, just by searching their name. In this case, Max's iPhone does have the check-in mode activated and is actively doing check-ins. I can again view the check-in history of this worker. Currently, their check-in status is successful and their connectivity is online. I can also see again that they're using a mobile phone, the battery percentage is at 75%, and I can click on this button to view the location of the worker, or these buttons to send an audio or video call to the worker. Also to note, you can also send text or email notifications for any of these events as well. So let's say you want an email sent for an SOS alarm, or in this case, whenever someone activates the safety check-in mode, you can define a list of contacts and then have an email or text message or automated phone call even sent to those supervisors whenever a critical event occurs. The next tab here is the Geofencing tab. What a geofence is you're applying some sort of set of rules into a 3D geographical boundary. I'll show you how easy it is to create a geofence here. First, I'll just click on New Zone and select a site. In this case, I'll select Ottman, Columbus, where I'm located. And next, what I can do is just draw any sort of shape here now where I want the geofence to be. Again, as previously mentioned, if you do have a 3D floor plan defined, you can set up these geofences within specific floors of your building as well. Next, I'll just give this geofence a name, and then I can also select the type of geofence. The classic one is just the classic geofence, so essentially if a worker goes into this zone, it'll raise a critical event, and as soon as they leave the zone, it'll automatically resolve that critical event. You can permit certain workers, so if I just click on them in these checkboxes, these workers will not raise an event when they enter into the zone. You can also optionally schedule these zones to start and end at specific times as well. There are other types of zones though as well. So I can click on this blackout zone. What a blackout zone is it's essentially going to not track any of the worker's location or biometric data within this blackout zone. It's used primarily for privacy reasons and is used for areas like locker rooms, break rooms, and areas of that sort. We also have evacuation zones. So if you need to evacuate a certain area, you can just draw up that area on this map quickly, and then everyone within that area will get a notification that they have to evacuate from this area and go to a muster point. There's also a PPE compliance zone as well. With the PPE compliance zone, you can set a proximity distance, so the default is 5 meters, but you can raise this or lower it as you require as well. And essentially what will happen is as a worker approaches 5 meters of entering into this zone from any direction, they'll get a notification that they have to scan in some sort of PPE. These are just 3 examples, like wearing a hard hat, scanning an oxygen monitor, or wearing a harness. Then what the worker will have to do is scan in that PPE via an RFID or an NFC card, and as soon as they do that, they'll be considered a permitted worker within this zone. However, if they don't scan in that PPE and enter this zone, it'll raise a critical event just like a geofence violation. There's also a variety of other geofence zones that don't raise events. So these are things like the work zone, risk zone, danger, and safe zone. So these just help you visually organize your site and will not raise any events. But I'll go ahead and start this geofence zone. And you can see immediately it recognizes that there's 2 online workers inside that zone, and it also raises critical events for those. Those critical events will stay there, so there's no way to resolve this event until either this user exits the zone or I end the geofence zone, which you can end the geofence zone just by clicking on it again here and then clicking on end. The next tab is the media gallery tab. So any pictures or videos taken by your workers will get securely uploaded to the GuardHat platform and then immediately wiped off the device. This way you can also ensure any sensitive or proprietary information stays where it should be. I can click on any of these pictures. You can click on this button to enlarge it as well. And then you can see also where the photo was taken, download the media if you'd like to, or delete the media as well. If you also want to do a multi-delete, you can just select multiple photos, select delete, and hit confirm. Next is the reporting tab. There's a variety of different reports we support out of the box. The first is just an overview report. So you can define first a time frame, then a site if you require, or you can do all sites, and you can also filter by workers or event types. I'll then hit submit, and what the overview report gives you is the list of all of the events that occurred, the locations which they've occurred, and then the users that have also raised the most events, and then events laid out by which events have had most occurrences as well. Next, there is the zone report, which will tell you all of the various geofence zone infractions that have occurred, where they occurred, and then when they were resolved as well, so you can see how long someone was within one of those zones. Next is the location report, so I'll zoom into my location here before starting this one. With the location report, I'll go back, let's say, about a week. I'll select a worker, in this case I'll select my iPhone again, and you can select a location data source as well. So if I only want to see, let's say, the BLE data, you can select that. But in this case, I'll just select all and then hit submit. What the location report gives you is the walk path of that worker, so you can track exactly where they went throughout the day. I can also change this to view a heat map of this data as well, so I can see where my worker has spent the most time as well throughout that walk path. If the worker is using something like a gas detector as well, you can actually fuse the data with the gas detector to get a real-time heat map of the gas readings in each of these location points as well. So that can help you reduce things like low O2 areas or high CO areas, and you can even do that with nuclear as well. So if you want to look at nuclear dose rates, we have a dose rate heat map as well that you can utilize. The utilization and usage report are used to rent out equipment, and then there is a sensor readings report as well. So if I click on my biometric band and then select the biometric sensor type, in this case I can view the biometric data for the past 24 hours. You can also do this with the gas detector as well, and with our hard hat, which is sending ambient temperatures. Lastly, there is a proximity report as well, which is used for collision avoidance devices. In the Settings tab here, there's a variety of other management functions you can do, such as managing your list of users, your list of devices, your list of BLE beacons, configuring the system or the platform, and then the Map Manager, which helps you upload new sites. This has been an overview of the Safety Control Center by GuardHab.